mate. No worries. Let's do it.
Yeah. Good evening and welcome to this special edition of the live feed tonight. First in the house, Graham Allison, Abigail French, Peter Piper, Lou Fallon, Nigel Moore. Well, you're gonna have to accept that I'm looking like a split mattress today. I've been out in the garden gardening. I've been sitting having a barbecue with the wifey. We've come in. Turn that down, woman.
We've been barbecuing tonight as well.
You've been barbecuing, and we've got a special guest, and he's just come in and introduced himself. You can guess who I'm talking to, can't you? I was just about to build it up. Special guest of ours, and he came straight in and went, "We've had a barbecue as well." I bet you haven't had what we've had on the barbecue.
What's that then, Chris?
Chicken.
Chicken? Well, do you know what we've had? We've had some chicken,
yeah,
some sausages, but we've also had some venison sausages and burgers from Tim Weston.
Stop it. It's getting freaking terrible, this, isn't it? We only had chicken. We had chicken and bread. That's all we had. Chicken and bread, me and Stone.
Oh, well. Times are hard down south, Chris.
Tim Weston's in the hour. You must have heard that. You bloody boy giving him freaking venison. What's going on, Tim Weston? So anyway, Gary, what's been happening? It's been too hot for training.
It has. I've been out at silly o'clock every morning. Every morning.
I've had
First light. You can't really do anything else, and even now you can't even go out in the evening, really, can you? Because it's so warm.
Yes, it's boiling here. We've had.
So I've been going out at silly o'clock, doing a couple of hours, 2.5 hours maybe, and then back home.
Yeah, I've had to cancel 3 lessons in the last few days. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't blame the people because at the end of the day, they don't come all the way here.
No.
Tim...
I had a couple come up Monday, Tuesday. They came up from London, 2 days training.
Yeah.
And, luckily, where my training ground is quite open, some of it, and we've got under some trees in a wood, and there's like a nice breeze.
Yeah.
So we met up early in the morning, but come midday, you can't do anything. It's just, you've got to stop. That's it.
Yeah.
So where we would have carried on, they came with 2 dogs. Where we probably would have carried on into the afternoon, we've had to stop because there's no point, because the dogs don't learn because they're so hot, they can't concentrate. It's wasting your time.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And that's the whole point. You shouldn't be pushing them when it's that hot. No. Right. One of the things that I've seen this week is some scumbag in America been beating the shit out of Labradors, and
terrible, isn't it?
Larry Crone shared it. And I see the police have been involved, and they've taken all the dogs off him, and obviously they'll be looking at charging him. The problem is, Gary, these people give us a bad name, don't they? Because we use discipline, and we use discipline at the right time, but to blatantly, beat the dog into submission, it's not. Yeah. It's not in the name of training.
I don't think it was even beating a dog into submission. I mean, I use discipline. You use discipline. There's nothing wrong with discipline. Nothing wrong at all whatsoever. But what that guy was doing in that video, he was picking that dog up and slamming it into the ground. Picked it up, slammed it into the ground. Picked it up, slammed it into the ground. What on earth is that dog going to learn from that, apart from to fear the hell out of him? You don't want your dog to, as you know, Chris, I'm not trying to teach you suck eggs. You know what I'm going to say. You don't want your dog to fear you.
No.
Ever.
No.
Ever. You don't want it to fear your hand, and you certainly don't want it to fear you. That's why if you give a correction, I like to give it through a lead, and you do. We know that. So the dog's not fearing your hand. We want the dog to want to be with us and want to be around us. We don't. What that guy was doing to that dog, I think that is from pure frustration, because he's not getting the results he wants from that dog, and he's just unleashed upon that dog, and that dog's not going to learn anything from that. Nothing.
I look at it this way. I wasn't there. Larry said there's far worse videos that he's got of that bloke abusing dogs. That to me was just sheer cruelty. And cruelty, there's nothing wrong with calling out cruelty. But where do you draw the line? Because you've got people out there saying anybody uses a correction or says no to a dog, or they don't use food and they don't use treats all the time, that you're abusing the dog. The dog's got to earn a living. The same as you wouldn't work for nothing and all this shit. I hear this all the time. And so you've got this counter argument all the time. Now, I wasn't there. What I saw on the video was disgraceful. And I couldn't work out why the guy was doing it, what his motive was. I just thought, you cruel bastard, right? The difference is everybody gets on the bandwagon then, and you get all the positive only movement going, this is what all gun dog people do. They beat the shit out of their dogs to get the dogs to the level they get to. Half the time, Gary, I'm telling people, hang on, no, keep it calm. Threaten the dog with verbal of your voice. Don't go out and give the dog a discipline. We want to destroy the drive. We want to keep the drive. We are there to educate, but if we can't be honest, then we shouldn't be there. But these people, like this bloke in America, are the scumbags that, like everybody else, like these people in the streets, like Muslims. There are decent Muslims. They are fucking radical Muslims. At the end of the day, you can't class everybody just because they're a good dog trainer.
No, you can't tie all the same brush.
No, and you can't say they all use abuse like that, like what they're trying to say in America about that's what gun dog trainers do. No, they fucking don't. Not all gun dog trainers.
I mean, I use discipline. I never ever hide the facts. I'm always extremely open with everyone, and potential clients who get in touch with me. I'm very, very clear and very, very open that dog, to get over this, what our problem is, we will need to use a certain degree of negative, punishments, correction, whatever you want to call it. But that could just be a verbal. I mean, I've had a couple of conversations this week with some people, and loads and loads and loads of people suffer from their puppies biting.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I stopped that in a day with my dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very easy to do. But that gives me the opportunity to load my negative verbal marker. So I can hold that puppy's bottom jaw, 8, 10, 12 weeks old, whatever the age of the dog. You can hold it. You just twist the head slightly. Does it hurt the dog? No. Is it uncomfortable? Yes, 100%. Does the dog like it? No, not at all. But I don't want it to like it. But then you can mark that with But then I can use that negative verbal marker for other behaviours, unwanted behaviours that I don't want. And that dog will stop. People think that, you use discipline. They think you use the word discipline and correction or punishment. They think you're kicking your dog, whacking, hitting your dog. That's not the case.
No.
That's not the case. 100% not the case. I can stop my dogs with an and I'm talking to you now, and I've got Bracken, you know him, you've met him. He's looking at me, I'm like thrown down the sofa, he's on the floor, and he's looking at me going, what have I done, Dad? Nothing. Because I can stop him with that verbal. Right? Now I'm stroking the top of his head, reassuring him, but I can stop him with that verbal, that negative verbal marker.
And I can stop.
I can go around hitting dogs.
I can stop.
That's not the case.
I can stop Sue with that verbal marker as well. No. I'm not opening my wallet anymore today. You're now pushing boundaries. When you get home, you're not getting treat trained. That's it now.
That's it.
But the whole point of it is you can't do that with your kids. You can't do that with the dogs. You can't do that with your partnership. It's a balance. You want your kids to like you. You want your dog to like you. You shouldn't be having a dog if you don't like your dog.
Well, no.
Why do people get dogs and then want to chastise them just for the sake of chastisement? That's not the case. But the problem is, it's throwing everybody. They try and tar everybody in the gun dog world as gun dog people are renowned for using cruelty. Hang on, what about protection dogs? I've seen protection dogs thrown around like shit. right? So don't tell me it's just gun dogs. I've seen like flyball dogs, you know, driven mental,
Yeah, but all these agility things, I've had a few agility people come to me, and they've got a dog that goes completely mental in a ring, yeah, but they cannot control it anywhere.
Exactly.
It's off the rails
because they've taken it to the next level up, and it's manic. It does what it wants to do in the ring, on the fly ball, or whatever they're doing in the ring, but they can't get it to switch off. We need our gun dogs to switch off. We need them we need them a click of a finger from hunt with drive and desire and passion.
Yeah.
And yet we need them to switch off with a click of a finger as well, or a verbal cue.
And that's why I always tell my clients, one of the first things I ask them to do is, right, we'll come to my house, we'll put the dogs in the truck, we'll go to our training ground just up the road, a mile away. We'll go there and I'll say, right, you have to sit. And that tells me so much. If they can just get that dog to sit for a minute, 2 minutes, or whether that sits for 1 second, it tells you whether that dog's focused on the owner, and it also tells you if that dog's looking for its fun elsewhere, and it also tells you, so many things that dog own relationship. That dog's looking away from its owner for its fun elsewhere.
Yeah,
it can't settle, and it's hyper. It hasn't got the ability to switch off.
Well, Alistair Brown has hit the nail on the head. Exactly what he said. There is an old saying that you can kick drive out of a dog, but not into a dog. How true that is.
Yeah.
How true that is. You can knock the drive out of the dog by obedience training and over obedience training. It doesn't mean you're cruel. It just means you're not giving the dog that freedom to express itself as a dog. No. Right? And that's
what a lot of these force-free pod-training gun dog trainers do.
Yeah.
They flatten the drive. And they say, look, I can get my dog to work for food, and it's doing this. And it's painful to see.
Yeah.
I got invited to a couple of groups. I'm not even going to mention them on here. But they're very, very high profile. They've got tens of thousands of members. And they asked me to join. And I joined. And they're asking me questions. And I said, well, I won't be doing this. And I won't be doing that. They said, well, why? I said, well, look at your dog. Show me another video of your dog, and you would literally be better off walking out and picking the dummies yourself. Because yes, the dogs were obedient, but they flattened that drive
exactly
to the point where it was sad to see.
Yeah,
the dog didn't want it. Went out. Honestly, you would literally better off walking. It's plodding like you wouldn't believe. You want your dog to enjoy it, race out, race back. God, this is the best thing in the world ever.
Yeah.
And want the dog to do it. Want it. That's what they do.
But the thing is, we talk about egos as well. And I was in competition, and I was successfully in competition, but I didn't do it because of my ego. I did it to prove the standard of my training for training people's dogs, helping people train their dogs. I wanted to prove that I was as good as the competition side. Now, some people will take out frustration on a dog that's not giving them what they want for competition. I've never ever done that in my life, because I've never destroyed the drive and desire of the dog. I've always created drive and desire, and the dog wanting to be with me and wanting to please me, Gary. That's the difference. So if all the trainers you've watched over the years and the internet and whatever you've done, who have you learnt the most from? What sort of trainer was it? Was it a gun dog trainer? Was it a pet dog trainer? Was it a protection trainer? Who have you learnt most from?
I followed quite a few trainers. I would say over the last 7 years, I've learned more from you than anyone else. And I would say you're my biggest dog training influence by a long way.
Right. But why, Gary? For what reason do you like the fact of what you get with a dog if you train it the Corleone way?
Because it's done, you get the control in a full way. The dog buys into it, and it's that gameplay. Yes, discipline at the right time.
Yeah.
But it's 99. Well, it depends on the dog. 90-95% positive reinforcement gameplay. They just want to do it. Like, people can't understand how much my dogs want to sit. People say, I can't get my dogs to sit. And then you shout my dogs, and my dogs can't wait to put the bums on the floor.
Yeah.
Because every time they put their bums on the floor, something good happens.
Something positive, yeah.
I get a client, and I open the back of the truck, and my dogs literally burst out and just sit there and then just stare at me.
Yeah.
I say to the client, let your dog off. And their dogs are literally jumping on top of my dogs, and my dogs are looking round their dog.
Yeah.
They're not interested at all. They just want to stare at me. What's Dad doing? What's he doing? We're going to have fun.
Yeah.
Because every time we go out, we have fun. Fun. About making yourself the fun element to the dog.
But that was the important thing, the reason that I went public at the time. And I've reached a stage now in my life that I don't feel the need to want to promote myself as much as I used to. And the only reason I promoted myself on YouTube is because of the hatred of me giving a correction to a dog that was moving, and the dog needed correction. I stand by the correction I gave the dog, and I haven't changed my training. I haven't been bullied into thinking I've got to change the way I train. I get really, really good results. I've got thousands of people got brilliant results, but I talk about discipline. So when I asked you who the major influence you've had over the years, who else talks about discipline openly and honestly in the Gundog world? There's people like Gary Wilkes who talks about it. I take me off to the guy. He talks about it on a regular basis, but then they try to throw him into a category.
We talk about it openly in the Gundog world, and that's you and me.
Yeah, absolutely crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy, Gary.
But we all know they do it.
Yeah.
Because they put all these glossy videos, and if you can read a dog, you know that dog is that disciplined. And you know some of them dogs in some of these videos, they say, look, I've done it all with the food bowl. I can do all this and do that. Look at my dogs. I've got 10 dogs lined up. I'm going to send them individually to the food bowl.
See,
the dog is wide-eyed.
I'm going to disagree with you there, because I can guarantee, I understand what you're saying, because you can see a dog that's been had discipline used on it. But if you watched a dog of mine that's had discipline used on it, you couldn't tell me when I've used discipline, how long ago I used discipline, or how often I use discipline with the dog, because the dog doesn't show signs of discipline. Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is you can see it.
People see my dogs and they can't understand this. I get so many comments, oh, your dogs look so happy and want to be with you.
Yeah.
All my dogs have had discipline, every single one.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. But
to varying degrees.
I think you made a comment. I shared a couple of videos this week with Fraser, who came here from just outside 10 miles from Derby, actually, Burton Way. And he saw the standard of his dog and how well he trained it. It was his first dog. How many people, Gary, do you think that come to you with problem dogs that they've gone to train after trainer or listen to idiot after idiot, and that if they could have a dog like that, they'd be over the freaking moon, wouldn't they?
They'd sell the soul for it.
Yeah, yeah. Because what he achieved with his dog is nothing exceptional, because I've done it hundreds and hundreds of times with people who follow my method of training. But what a great achievement for his first dog, to trust us, listen to us, use discipline when he has to, but create that desired gameplay and have that dog that wants to be with him and wants to play the game. It's wonderful to watch.
See, I disagree with you there, Chris. I think you're underselling him. I think the dog he's got for his first dog is phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely, without fail. I told him.
I think that dog for his first dog is phenomenal. I think you're underselling him. What you just said is underselling him. I think that is absolutely top draw.
Yeah, I don't think I'm underselling him because you haven't seen the rest of the videos that are coming out yet. When you see the sit down and you see the next stage of the videos we went through, I just over the moon for him, and it's building his confidence in himself because it's his first dog, and he's watching dogs that are 3-4 years old with competition people that are flying, and he's got to give the dog a little bit of time, and time that dog's going to get better and better. A full season in the field, that dog's going to be fantastic.
It's good now. Well, I said, didn't I? That comment, I'd have it off him. I'd have it off him straight away.
Yeah.
Lovely dog.
So Lou Fell says, I feel it's all about teaching the owner how to be better. The dog is only as good as the owner. Great good dog trainer, great owner, great dog. There you go. You're hitting the nail on the head. You're hitting the nail on the head.
That's one of my clients. That is, Chris.
Hey, bloody hell! You got clients watching now. Look, Lou's in the background. Is Lou a bloke or a girl or lady? I don't know.
Like a lady. She came all the way from Dorset, bless her.
Dorset.
2 days of training.
Ooh. So much a better owner. Yes, she's a better owner now, she says, eh? That's the whole point. You've got to give the education, and that's what we're out there for. That's what we're doing. But we've got the backbone, Gary, to stand up and say, yes, we use discipline, but look at our dogs. Look at the success rate. Look at how our dogs, people look at them, and look how people in the group follow us because of the success we get when teaching.
Yeah, the proof's there. There's so many people out there talk it and say, "Oh, I can do this, I can do that," and blah blah blah. Show it then.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't have to do that. Oh, if you want to be taken seriously, then well, you do really, don't you?
Yeah.
So I've got no qualms about showing, and I do show it on a weekly basis. I show my work. I don't hide behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when I first came into the gun dog world, I hadn't disciplined dogs before. I'd had pet dogs and not disciplined them. Right, as a kid, we had pet dogs with a family, but I never disciplined. Then I went through so much in life, I didn't get any dogs, and then went back getting a dog with the kids and the family. And when I first started to see people using discipline in the gun dog world with dogs, I saw some serious abuse, Gary, with dogs being, bullied into submission.
Yeah.
And I seen these dogs flattened, and I learned by watching, because you only learn by watching, that that's not the way to do it. But if you didn't have a brain or you didn't have any emotion in your body, you might think, I'll just beat the dog into submission. But those people who beat dogs into submission, and I'm not saying there weren't some great dog trainers who gave discipline at the right time, but what I'm saying is those people who smashed that drive out of the dog with discipline, with being too obedient, too much of an obedience trainer, they never made it in the competition world. They were always turning up and talking like, oh, I got turned over, I got this, I got that. Bad luck stories all the freaking time.
Yeah.
What they couldn't understand is I created dogs with drive and desire that was above everybody else at the time in that area when I was training, and that's why I was being successful. You're not successful when you first come on the scene if you've not got something better than everybody else. So to beat the big boys and the film stars, you had to have a dog that was better than theirs. So you needed the paciest dog, the most driven dog, the dog that responded quickly on the commands.
Well, it's on the edge.
Yeah. And that's what I liked about that little cocker. That little cocker, when he blew that stop whistle, when he was throwing retrieves, that dog was parking its arse on a sixpence. And at the end of the day, when he was hunting the dog and asking the dog to stop, the dog wasn't stopping quite so sharp. And he was running towards the dog to discipline the dog. My job was actually, hang on, just threaten the dog a little bit. Don't punish, you'll destroy the drive. So how many times have you heard me over the years say that to people on videos? Back off from giving the discipline, but I talk about discipline. I say when it's right to give discipline. And if people don't know when to give discipline, It's the same as that woman on that Olympics with that horse. She don't tell me it's not done on a regular basis by certain.
They all do it. They all do it.
But because she got caught, she's got to take it and say, "Oh, it was a one-off. I've never done it before. It's out of character, and I'll never do it again." And people can give her a lifetime ban. Instead of people standing up and saying, "Listen, if a horse needs to be shown at a certain level, it's acceptable. But there is a level with all discipline. There has to be a level with all discipline."
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
You were taking the bus, weren't you?
How many dogs are you going to send away? How many dogs have you sent away, Gary, and said, "I'm sorry, I'm not willing to go to the level of give discipline this dog needs. Unfortunately, you've let the dog take over. You've created the problem. There's one way we can get it back. But if I show you that and do that, I'm not willing to do it. I'm sorry, but I haven't. I have not had a dog that I've not been able to turn around, right? Because I'm willing to step up if I have to. But very seldom do I have to go in firm. I have to be consistent. I have to show the dog exactly what I want. I have to understand the dog knows what I'm asking. And if the dog then is pushing boundaries, I can use a punisher if I have to. But once the dog learns that you're not to be pushed, the dog goes, "Right, got the message. I'm going to listen to you. I want to play the game." So there's hell of a difference when we talk about giving discipline. The threat of discipline on its own can be enough when the dog understands there's going to be a consequence if you push the boundary.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's right. It's about going at the right level to educate the dog. Because if you're having to correct, I don't think the dog's getting the message. It's better to go in once and teach the dog, "Don't do that. That's not acceptable," and the dog will understand, rather than nagging the dog.
Yeah. The Country Dog Co says the difference from before seeing Chris is now phenomenal. He's by no way means ready for the field yet, but we will get there with your guidance. That's what it's about, isn't it? It's about giving those few carrots of wisdom, that wisdom that we give people. Just change that slightly, do that slightly, and you'll have a better dog for it. You'll have a better relationship for it.
Yeah. It's a little bit,
but there's a lot of work.
There's
a lot of groundwork that goes in, Gary, before any discipline is used, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and that's the difference. I'm talking about the discipline, but they're not talking about, "Oh yeah, but hang on, did you not see the 12 months of affection and building the desire, building the trust, building the drive before he used the discipline?" That's the difference.
Like that. I've got a boarding trainer at the minute, Nala. She's 18 months old. I spoke to you about it Sunday night. She's been here just over a week now, and she's 18 months old. The owner got her when she was 6 months old, and when he dropped her off a couple of weeks ago, he said, "Oh, she's very shy of a hand over her head."
Right.
Because she's had a little bit of discipline, not from him, but he got her from when she was 6 months, and he said the breeder said he was like too much bigging himself up, bragging that the dog, the pups on that litter were scared to move from a sit position when they were 6 weeks old.
6 weeks old?
6 weeks old. I shit you not.
There's some freaking idiots out there, and they're 6 weeks old.
And what on earth is that? So no wonder the dog has got some issues. So, I've been fussing her. I've been moving my hands over her head, and now she's seeing that the hands over her head like a positive. And it's took me quite a while. It's still a little bit nervy, but she's really coming out of her shell now. But my dogs have helped to get a little bit of confidence running with them, because they're very confident dogs. But to 6 weeks old to even contemplate getting up to.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even come out with such shit, would you? With such shit comments, would you? 6 weeks old? Are you talking out your arse? You're definitely talking out your arse, isn't it? The bloke is talking out his arse. I mean, Steve Pace, another accredited trainer of ours. Steve Pace, another accredited trainer of ours. Discipline works very quickly on a dog that doesn't know you, and the owner thinks it's magic, all because we know the right level to go in with. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You're dead, and Steve's dead right. That bloke should have his dogs taken off him if he treats puppies like that. 6 weeks old, makes them sick.
100%.
What a knobhead!
100%.
What a complete knobhead! They need calling out. They need calling out. They're freaking not right in the head.
That's the bullshit. How can you do that to a 6-week-old pup? He just was scared to death.
That's like slapping a kid for shitting in its nappy at fucking 6 months old. Or just 12, well, less than that, 12 weeks old.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, isn't it? They're not right in the head, are they?
No, not at all.
But
they're out there.
But that's not the first one. We see so many of them, don't we? They come up with such bollocks, absolute bollocks. That's what we say, isn't it? Never mind the bollocks, show us your dog.
But then we all get tired of that brush. That's going back to what you said earlier, like going to America.
Yeah.
Then we all get tired with that brush. We don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't even ask for a sit. Well, with little Ren, we get them to sit through the gameplay. I don't even ask for a sit.
Yeah.
My dogs want to sit.
Yeah, but that's what I've taught, isn't it? I've taught how to get the dog to want to sit without even telling it.
Yeah. I mean, people are absolutely amazed. We get my dogs out of the truck, and they come out of the truck, and they just sit there staring. They don't do anything else. They just sit there, bums on the floor. Can't wait to get the bums on the floor, and they just stare at you. It's like, what are we going to do then, Dad?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Because they just want to play. I had a client, they came from London, 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, 2 days of training. And they've got siblings, 2 cockers, boy and a girl, same litter. And they were struggling, so we worked for a few bits and bobs.
I bet that's awkward. I bet that's awkward when she comes in season, isn't it?
Yeah, but they've not got there yet. They're only 10 months old. But anyway, so I said, show me what you've done, blah, blah, blah. They've been using a few treats. I said, my dogs are not interested in food. I said, they'd be more interested in what I've got in my game bag, my training bag. So I've got little Ren out, little bitch. She's just turned 13 months. And I said, give me some of your treats. They've got a pouch full of chopped up sausages. So I put a tennis ball in one hand and 2 or 3 bits of sausage in another, and bent down to Ren. I went, go on, get up. And she went straight for the tennis ball.
Yeah.
Didn't give a damn about the sausages. Didn't give a damn.
Well, they're
interested in the slightest.
That's where the difference is between you and me as a trainer, then, because if I take a freaking chicken out to the barbecue to cook it on the barbecue, and I walk past the kennels, the outdoor kennels, every dog is on the kennel freaking thing going, I smelt the fucking chicken, right? If I then bring a chicken carcass in, that it's like, he's still got chicken. And I guarantee that if I go out past my kennels, my dogs are at the kennel looking for food, because if I've got scraps from tea or I've got scraps from meat fat that's left over, it goes right out to my dogs in the kennel. But I know exactly what you're saying.
We do ours as well.
But I know exactly what you're saying. When you're in training mode, the dog goes, hang on, we're in training mode. Food is not important. And yet, food is a motivator if used correctly.
Final motivator. They want it.
Well,
it depends how you use it, I think.
Well, when we talk about primal motivator, it means you've got to have food to live. But my dogs do not have to do party tricks for food. They don't do. Mine have never ever had to sit and fucking beg or fucking lay down and fucking wait for the food to be put on the floor. If I've got scraps, I throw it in, and the fastest one to it gets it, because I believe in competition. And sometimes I have to throw it a little bit convenient for a dog that's not quick, so it gets some food. Because the other dogs go, if you ain't fucking going to get it, I'm having it. So I create desire and drive by putting in competition. There's nothing wrong with competition.
Yeah, no, not at all. I did a video today. I put it on my Facebook page, and I board and trained she's got a habit of spitting a ball out at you. So I use my dogs, a little bit of competition.
Yep.
So she will not drop it with the dogs around.
That's it. Yep.
Because she does not want the other dogs to have it.
Yeah.
And there's that little bit of competition as like just sharpened up a little bit. So I'm not going to let go of it because they'll have it. I'll give it to you. But if the other dogs are not there, she'll quite often just like literally run at you and just chuck it at you, the tennis ball.
Yeah.
Other dogs there, no, hold on to it.
Yeah. Denver says here, Denver Skinner, my dogs forget to drink when I'm training. I have to tell them to have a drink. Well, exactly the same as us. What happens is I've never had a dog come up to me and go, hang on, it's a bit hot today, can I have a drink? But I've always looked for water for the dog midway through training or partway through training to give the dog a drink. But like you say, they don't look for it. You have to call them in and you have to give them the drink because you're looking after your dogs. It's the husbandry that we use, isn't it? When we look the care and duty.
Well, when we went to Scotland shooting, Chris,
yeah,
I mean, a few people turned up without water for the dogs.
Mm.
And I'll never forget, you were the one who was going around making sure that everyone's dogs were hydrated.
Yeah, yeah.
You were the one going around saying, right, your dog's had enough now, put it on the lead, give it a drink. Because we took water for ours, so we were sharing our water out.
Yeah. But,
you know, it's a warm September day, people haven't took drinks.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've got to be about right and look after your dog.
But it's about
you were the one who was doing that.
It's about the dog's welfare. That's got to come first, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because they'll run till the pop.
Yeah. So we've had a few people in here. We've had the same regulars. We've had a few new people. I'm just looking down. Have you seen any questions, Sue, that we've not answered? Not really. Sue's in the background. She's very, very quiet tonight, isn't she?
She is.
She is very quiet. I'm just seeing if there's anything else on here that we've missed. Benny Boy's in the house again. Hello, everyone. Benny Boy's in the house. Graham Allison said, I would question this guy who's trying to impress with 6 weeks old sits. Yeah, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, why do you need, why can't you let a puppy be a puppy? And people got this obsession that, you know, puppies develop and learn very, very quickly. Puppies are the same as young children. They have a attention span that is very little. And gameplay is so important. And not being funny, if you started disciplining a youngster, a young kid, you know, at 6 months old, the young kid's not going to even understand it, is it? It's not going to understand it.
It's got no comprehension, has it?
No, and I just
got no comprehension what's going on.
And it's like I was saying the other day on our live feed that the grandkids came round for a barbecue the other day, and freaking 2 of them took over. And freaking, it was hard work. I would have never let my kids do that. But it's not my kids, it's my grandkids. And I think, she goes, yeah, but they're like that all the time. I think, well, they're like that all the time because you're not fucking showing any discipline, any structure. But does it mean they're going to grow up better? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to grow up any better because I use structure with my kids. My kids weren't allowed to go around someone's house and go through their cupboards. They had to fucking sit and be polite. And everyone you go around to their house, they go, aren't the kids really polite? It doesn't mean you're a dictator and you don't let them have freedom, you don't let them have play when you're out with you. But they had to have rules and boundaries when they went somewhere else.
Manners.
Yeah, but for these 2 youngsters, my grandkids, the youngsters, it's about safety. Because round the back of the garden, there's metal sheeting, there's stuff they could cut themselves on, Gary. And if they're climbing up it and running over it, they could hurt themselves. And so you think, hang on, keep them in sight, tell them to sit down, tell them to calm down. But I say each to their own. And I see that with dog people. They bring the dog and they've got no control at all. The dog doesn't listen to them. The dog's taken over. How fast do dogs learn, Gary, to take over?
Really, really quick. I think most people's dogs, the dogs figure the owner out long before the owner figures the dog out.
Yeah, and yet it's the human who's supposed to have the freaking brain matter.
Yeah. But
the dogs are visual. And the dogs can work things out very, very quickly. and they're opportunists, and that's the whole point, isn't it? When you think about it, dogs have survived so much with humans over the thousands and thousands of years because they are opportunists.
But like I say, they'll throw the owner out, and then they know whoever's in the household or whatever, who's a soft touch, whether it's a child or the woman or the husband or whoever, they'll find that weak link and they'll exploit that weak link. They see it all the time.
Yeah. So you said I had, correct, Ruby, 2 years to get what I needed, as I had the wrong trainer, but I'm training staff for 8 months, or completely differently with Gary, and the difference is amazing. And that's the thing, isn't it? That's the whole point. It's someone coming to you and they see results from the start, from the first day you interact with the dog.
Yeah. I think if you're confident with the dog and with the owners, the dog picks up on that and they feed off that. They understand it. They pick things up quicker. I think most people are way too soft with the dogs.
But the difference is
like human children.
But the difference,
that's where they go wrong.
The difference is, though, Gary, with me, I don't know if you're the same. If I have a customer for the dog for the first time, I want to see the dog. I don't want to give any influence on that dog with my persona, with my personality, with the way I react, the way I am in the dog's face. I don't want to be in the dog's face. I want to stand back. I want to see what the dog is like with the owner. But when I step in, and Steve will know this, you'll know this, when you step in for the first time, you show leadership, but you don't need to be hard on the dog because the dog does not have any leadership. All you're showing is confidence and leadership that you have taken over. And the dog goes, oh, I've not seen this before. This is new. And you can see the dog thinking. And that's the difference. That if you've got somebody who's done nothing but beat the hell out of a dog and suppressed it, then that's a lot harder dog to turn around that's been ruined and scarred mentally because someone's been obedience training it and said, I've been told, don't let it do this, don't let it do that, don't let it get any drive, don't let it run in, don't let it do this. And they're the harder dogs because they're mentally scarred, and you have to unscramble everything these idiots have put into them. But the difference is we can step in on a naughty dog and instantly get results.
It's knowing when to step in, isn't it, as well, at the right level. But that dog I've got in the moment, one of the dogs I've got in the moment, that Lala, the nervous dog, her owner is friends with that black cockabitch Ruby, who I messaged you about, spoke to you about her,
right?
Who'd been to that high-profile trainer about a year or so ago.
Yeah,
and I don't know what he'd done, but that dog was absolutely scared to death to go wrong. And it took me 3 weeks to get that dog to go probably 10 yards away from me.
But that high-profile trainer is putting up videos on a regular basis, like, look at my flowers, look at my lovely way I train dogs, and they're not seeing, people aren't seeing the truth, are they? That's the problem.
No, that dog was scared to death, and it would just sit there and just stare at you, and I don't move. I do not dare move whatsoever. 3 weeks to get it to go 10, 15 yards.
This horrible little scumbag, Gary, that's gone and knifed these kids in Liverpool.
Yeah.
The media's got hold of it, and they named somebody who wasn't them, and said that they were off the boats, off the dinghies, and all this shit, and got it all wrong. I'm very careful when it comes to people giving me information about other trainers, but when I hear 10, 15 people telling me the same sort of story, it gives you an indication of what they must be like. Now, if I'm not there and I haven't seen it, I'm not going to make comment other than I wouldn't recommend them to nobody. But the difference is you get that feedback back. It doesn't mean you want to make yourself famous or cause a bitch fight by naming someone because other people have said this is what happened. So it's important to me that integrity. Now, I think there was a video that actually showed him for more of what he really is like. but that seemed to get pushed down the line, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And at the end, at the end of the day, because he'd been successful, he wasn't attacked by successful people. Well, what does that tell you? It tells me it tells me they all use discipline. But it doesn't mean they use discipline to that level.
No.
But the thing is, where do you draw the line between throwing somebody under the bus or going, he had a bad day? I don't think that was a bad day. I think he put it up, made a mistake, and that's what he's really like. I don't want to go down that road publicly and name the person, because I'm not here to try and get kicks or likes from rubbishing other people. But when I see a video like I saw, I have a right to say something if I want. But I didn't. I didn't give my opinion on that, other than in private. And in private, I give my opinion because in private, I say far more in our group. And the reason I say it in our group is I'm too old in the tooth for this shit. I've seen people thrown under the bus for absolutely nothing. But I've also seen people get away with being cruel to dogs, Gary. And that's the difference. They are people who are giving us the bad name. The feedback we get, I guarantee there is not people out there with feedback, genuine feedback about Chris Upton abused my dog. They're not out there, Gary. Because I've never had anybody say, hang on, mate, forget that. That's not training. You're not getting nothing at my dog with that. And yet I've used discipline, I've used correction, but I've also said to people, back off. Don't be so assertive. Don't be so regimental. The difference is we're willing to talk about it, but they're not. And so I haven't got time for any trainer on the internet that will not talk about discipline.
Not when you know that they use it.
Well, it's one of the most...
There's also people who are out there who, even some force-free positive only trainers out there who are very, very high profile, and Gary Wilkes exposed one of them, and she's super popular. She's like an icon of the force-free positive only movement. But he said that he got evidence they're using an e-collar to get a dog to come out of a lake.
We've had it. Well, I've read the story as well. Yeah,
how can that be? So force-free positive owner, but she slaps an e-collar on her own dog. Then she slates people who use them themselves, other people. So it doesn't make any sense. But there you go. I mean, I've had 2 of these IMDT trainers come to me in the last 15, 16 months. The Institute of Modern Dog Trainers, force-free positive only. It's what all these fluffy trainers rave about. Oh my God, you must have a registered, certified, fully qualified trainer. But I've had 2 of them come to me this year or so, and because they can't control their own dogs. One's had a boxer that was jumping up, wasn't aggressive. It was just super boisterous, and it was jumping up, ripping her clothes. She messaged me and said, "Can you help me?" Yeah, come on. I didn't know who she was at the time, but she's one of these trainers at IMDT. And she turns up, and dog jumps up on the assessment. It jumps up, ripped the sleeve on her coat. I said, "Get your dog to sit." And she's just chucking food on the floor, trying to get to sit. I said, "Well, you're never going to get what you want doing that." I said, you're trying to get your dog to be calmer. I said, but you're adding a stimulus to it.
Yeah.
So I said, put this lead on it, put my 8-foot leather lead on it. I gave it 2 corrections, and it sat there looking at me. I said, right, now we can train it. I said, because what you're doing, you're trying to train a dog that's completely bonkers. It's never going to get anything into its head because it can't accept information. So give it a couple of little pops on the lead. It sat there, good as gold. Then we started educating it.
Then
20 mare's gone on social media saying that she's turned her dog around with positive reinforcement, but she hasn't.
Yeah,
it's just lies.
Yeah,
pure lies.
See,
I've got it all on video, so she can't. If it ever comes back, I'll say, "Well, this is what happened to your dog.
yeah.
This is how we turned it round."
See, 20 years ago, I would have said, if the dog was ripping her clothes, I would have said, "Do you want to stop that? I can stop that instantly." And she would have said, "Yes." I said, "Take your clothes off."
Now it can't practice the behaviour.
Now you can't say such shit like that these days. And say he abused me. He told me to take my clothes off. I'll tell you what, I've seen them over the years, Gary, and that's why I do not train pet people with their pets. I mean, I take me out off to you because I think you need a certain sort of. I haven't got the patience at my age. I haven't got the patience to listen to people and their stories and how the hell can they be promoting what they promote, the institute they are with, and then they can't stop an unwanted behavior, a simple unwanted behavior, because technically I could stop that behavior without even seeing the dog within 5 minutes. I know it.
Yep.
The majority of people in our group who train other people would just go, "Give me the dog, let me show you what to do." And it's not rocket science. It's not something that's secret, a secret society that we only keep it between ourselves. We teach people, and if they then went off and taught somebody else the same thing, we wouldn't say, "How dare you teach somebody what we've taught you," because it took me years to learn that. We are there for the dogs. We want the dogs to have a better quality of life. We want the people to have a better quality of life, and we want people to have value for money. Because have you not heard all this shit about how much people are charging for these? It's horrendous for these training days, isn't it? And these training sessions.
And I had a lady come to me a couple of weeks ago with a dog that pulled like a train, and she'd been paying. She'd had, I think, it's 4 or 5 sessions for loose lead walking with a so-called trainer, an ex-police dog handler trainer.
Yeah.
And she'd been paying him £150 an hour.
Unreal, isn't it?
And she got nowhere. And I charged her 40 quid, and we got the dog looking lovely.
Yeah.
40 quid an hour.
Yeah.
But there's some people charging £700 a week just for loose lead walking.
But I hear people
700 quid a week.
I hear people saying to charge what you're worth. It's a load of bollocks, isn't it? I mean, are we in it for just the money, or are we in it for the dogs and helping people as well as having to earn a living? Because I got to earn a living. Don't get me wrong, but in our group, if someone puts up a video with their dog struggling, they get another video back with voiceover telling them how to improve and what to change and how to motivate the dog or get a better response from the dog, a better bond with the dog. And at the end of the day, I don't charge them for that. They're part of the group. So if you're a group member, you don't have to ask questions if you don't want. You don't have to send videos in. You can learn by watching everybody else's video, each to their own. But the people who send a video in and ask me a question, and tonight I had a customer who is in the group. He asks questions on a regular basis. He puts some videos. I give him voiceovers. I tell him what he's doing wrong. I tell him what he's doing right. He watched one of your videos today and he said to me, "Gary Marriott, slightly different than you. What if I try that?" I says, "Knock yourself out. Have a go. If it works, good." Because although you followed me, I've never, ever cloned myself off one person. I've got my own way of training. I've got my own thought pattern. But I guarantee that 95% of people in our group who know what they're talking about have followed me for a long period of time and gained that knowledge and added that to their repertoire. Do you agree?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And I haven't watched the video that you put up, but it was something to do with the placeboard or something. And I said to him straight away, yes, Gary is one of our accredited trainers in the group. I would fully recommend watching your videos. I've never watched one of your videos yet, Gary, and thought, what the frick are you doing?
But that's good to hear.
No. But guess what? You know what would happen if I did?
Yeah.
What would happen?
Well, you'd let me know. You'd message. You'd talk to me about it.
Exactly. And that's what I'd do to anybody in our group. I'd contact them in Messenger. I wouldn't do it publicly. I'd say, listen, just think about what you did there. What if you just did that? Think about the consequences you might have if you did it that way. But I'm not having to do that with the people who are helping other people because they followed the Corleone way and they've shown me the quality of their training. It doesn't mean they 100% Chris Upton's methods and Chris Upton only, but they've taken on board, they've followed, they've learned, and I can credit them in the right way because I know that they're not going to rip people off. And if I heard that they're ripping people off straight away, I would disconnect them from the Corleone group because I believe in fairness as well. And I believe that everyone's got to make a living, Gary. But at the end of the day, when they're charging them sort of prices, I mean, I've heard people saying £1,000 for a training seminar.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
It was 7,000 with one of our members, wasn't it? With a certain trainer. $7,000 and never even got accreditation.
No.
And with what he was saying,
a lot of money that is.
What he was saying is, I wouldn't want to be treated the way he told us he was treated. And I'm not going to mention names again, but at the end of the day, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of commitment, isn't it?
Well, it's the same amount of money, isn't it?
I couldn't justify it. I couldn't justify it.
No, I couldn't.
I couldn't justify it if it was Jesus and he was showing me miracles.
I haven't got the money. If I wanted to.
You bloody have all these old grannies you're helping with their little poodles. Somebody.
I do a lot of them for free, Chris.
Hey?
I do a lot of them for free.
I'm freaking sure you do. Honestly, sir, he's a freaking. Honestly, we're gonna send him money now, aren't we? We're gonna have to do a funding thing. You go fund page.
Please give generously.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I need a new truck.
Anyway, that was a fast hour, everybody, wasn't it? With us two talking, we don't freaking stop, do we? Have we answered any of your questions? I want to thank Gary for tuning in. It's 57 minutes and 38 seconds. Has anybody got any questions for Gary? Working coppers, some brilliant advice, Gary, says Steve Morton. Lou Phelps says 100%. Gary does it for nothing. He does it. I say he does it for love, but that's another joke, isn't it? That we could get ourselves into trouble for, couldn't we, if we're not careful?
I get enough trouble as it is.
Yeah. Obedient dog is so much better quality of life, says Steve Morton. Such a shame. Such a shame. It was so much more fun. What in the days when you could have a laugh and you could have a joke with people? It's a problem, isn't it? Peter Piper says, "Great listen, Gary." Thank you, Peter Piper, for that. Well, we're not going to tell you his real name, Peter Piper, Pictor Pepper. Steve Pace, well done, Gary. Bollocks. There you go. That's what they're saying. It was great for Gary to come on. He offered to come on this evening, and I jumped at the chance because I'm sitting there scratching my head. I tell you what, I've been emotionally affected with that freaking watching those poor kids and then people. And then you see them fucking people kicking off and burning stuff. There's an anarchy. At the end of the day, that doesn't sort nothing out. I know tensions are high and people are pissed off. I don't blame people for being pissed off, but I think we've got to do it with peaceful protest. There is time to stand up and be counted, but at the end of the day, you ain't going to get nothing because just turn it around and say that anybody who was there was a freaking racist stuff. And at the end of the day, it's the way the media spin things. Oh, freaking hell. I thought he's leaving the battery then. Leaving the show. So I want to thank Gary. And because my mind was running with people and all the crap that's going on in the world with wars and everything. I think myself, sitting in my garden, having a barbecue with my wife, I think you're better off with a gate lock sometimes, not dealing with the freaking big wide world out there. I am so lucky with where we live in the country. And I know some people, and I feel the frustration, and I've lived in rough areas, but at the end of the day, burning, throwing bricks and hurting police officers ain't the way forward, is it? It's not the way forward. And I believe in discipline, but not violence like that. I believe that you should be able to peacefully protest. You should be able to speak your mind. But in this country, they're trying to suppress us. We have to stand up. We have to make a stand. And if you believe passionately, like me and Gary, about dog training and why we use discipline, talk about it because we use it, but we talk about why we use it. There isn't many people out there openly in public talking about subjects that they know it's going to rattle other people. Sometimes you have to stand up, toughen up, and say it the way it is. So I want to thank Gary for coming on tonight, and he's gone darker and darker. I don't know. I'll just show you there, look, everyone. He's freaking darker. He's gonna have to lie down in the box after speaking on here. With a coffee. Yeah, but thanks a lot, Gary. Thanks for coming on live, and thanks everybody for joining in. I hope you enjoyed tonight. I enjoyed chatting with Gary. Cheers. Thanks a lot, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.
Cheers, Gary. Bye-bye. Good night, all.